This is a lady of 44 years. We turn her on to 33, and then we move on to 22. She's an MIT colleague of mine. Okay, she didn't tell me this, but she sent me the test after that, after many months, So is there a way to do all this? Yes, this is a wonderful experience. Dr. D was treating him here. He was treated in Malaysia. Okay, he was on stage 5 with an eGFR of 9 and move on to around 50. Okay, and the last journey was right in Malaysia in 2024 March, just recently, right in Malaysia, right in KL. Okay, he has 10 stents in the heart, and he has a PICC valve, and he's still there. And he have done 4 sessions of stem cells today. He's off dialysis until today since early 2019. Imagine he was on dialysis 3 times a week for 10 months. 10 months, 3 times a week, and he's 68 at that time. When he came to me, I said, you look more like 88, instead of 68, He's a doctor and a wife too, and imagine the journey we have done so much. And he's not the only kidney patient we have done so far. But I will not say every kidney patient will have the success of him. The patient must have some faith in themselves too. Okay, the patient must be compliant too. It's like treating a diabetic patient. You treat him, bring down the HbA1c and the sugar level, and the next moment he start to do his lifestyle again. Okay, so it's difficult sometimes. You bring it down, they continue to go with the lifestyle. This is one of the first diabetic patients we treated some 18 to 20 years ago. Okay. Okay. Now, this is American. Americans is very difficult to get testimonial. Let me tell you. When we treated him, she gave a testimonial. Okay, that was almost 20 years ago. Okay, it was a good experience, and he's not the only one. This guy is the longest CIT chief of Malaysia. He's the deputy IGP, Tan Sri Bakri. He went to India, went to Korea, spent millions on stem cells, and one day he said, I heard of your name. Although I'm a Sabahan, I didn't know you're from Sabah. I say, you come to Sabah then? Okay. I treated him for Parkinson. When I first met him, he was 2 hands holding a cup and he's shaking like nobody's business. And when he talked to me, I can't understand what he's talking. Okay. I can't understand what he's talking. So when we treated him, he improved so much. He said, Mike, I want to do a testimonial. Okay. I say, are you sure? Because you're chairman of many listed company now. The wife said, no. Nisa, the wife said, no, don't do my husband. Okay, actually, I was introduced to by the wife, introduced to him by the wife. The wife of having a heart problem, she want to climb Mount Kinabalu. So she took my supplements and improved so much that she must buy the supplements before climbing the mountain. She was bringing Siti Nurhaliza then, okay? And Siti Nurhaliza last minute cancer, okay? And she went out and come up, okay? She was in the 50. I mean, you probably see her. She's a good chef, And the good part about the husband is the husband said, no, Mike, I spend so much money doing all the stem cells in the world. I don't see a result. What you have done is so wonderful. I never believed a Malaysian did that for me instead of me going out of the country. I'm willing to take the risk and give my own testimonial. And the wife said, no, you are public listed chairman, director. If you go out and say you're Parkinson, maybe you lose your job or directorship. You say it's fine. So that was the greatness of a man who came out on his own and do it. This was one day after the stem cell when we injected on him. Okay, so you can check the testimony there. This is an autistic child from US. He has done all the stem cell in US. No one can control him. He has a violent nature. That's also difficult. Okay, and the father and mother is so afraid of him. And we managed to treat him well. Okay, he came back for a second time. He's improving so much, and you will see the cheery mother story. To give a testimony to the mother. And there's so many things I believe we have done, and this comes from the father and the mother. The mother was very emotional for all this. Okay. Autistic children, every month we have so many from the Chinese, and also parts of the world and from the Middle East. Okay. And these are the 2 autistic textbooks we have done so far. We also have a peer-reviewed publication in UK on autism. I believe no one can do autism or Down syndrome or cerebral palsy or global delay, developmental delay children like what we have done. And I'll call them neurodevelopmental diseases. No one can do that as good as what we have done so far. And we are proud to say Malaysia did it wonderfully well, okay, and recognized worldwide, okay, wonderfully well. So again, with Vietnam, I've been to more than 5 conferences in Vietnam, arranged by association, Autistic Association, and all the handicapped children. And we did all this for all the parents, you know, and guide them along and give them the education. We should do this in Malaysia, okay? Because even when I went to the Middle East, there are 100 autistic schools in UAE, private school. The parents have all the money, just send them there. Okay, just send them there. They'll be handled and take care. Nothing has been done much there, just to handle them. The right way is to give them the brain cells so that they can become independent. Okay, even in Singapore, to have an autistic child will cost 8,000 Singapore dollars a month. So the right way is to trick them and make them become, it's only a social problem. So you have to give the hippocampus and many other brain cells to them. Okay. So imagine for Down syndrome children of this boy, he was 9.5 years old before he was treated, and look at his face 1 year later. The face I'm saying is the IQ of a person. He changed so much. The face itself already tell about the improvement of a person. When you look at the face of a person, you don't have to be a beautiful, handsome face, but you can see the IQ of a person to a certain extent. And that itself already proved. But what about a girl like this, a child like this, who was treated one at 1/2 years old and he went on to 10 years old? The face doesn't look like autistic child. And imagine there's 600 done here in Malaysia. We started in Ampang Putri. Okay. We are the first people who do stem cells in Malaysia, in Perth, in Sydney, in Melbourne, in Korea, in Japan, in China, in Hong Kong, in Indonesia. Even in Indonesia, we treat the richest man in Indonesia, Tan Sri Abu Bakri or what, from Lombok. He just died a few months ago. That's the reason why I'm going back to Indonesia tomorrow. Okay. There are 600 over medical doctors for training there. And I believe there's so much we have done here, and we need you guys to continue our journey. You guys have to learn it up and move it to the next level and contribute to society. Okay. One of the mission of you all medical doctors here is to contribute to society and not just to make the money from the patient. Okay. You have to treat with a good conscience. So many things, so many banners. Go to the website, you'll see more information. Okay. And even for fertility, we have done a lot. Recently, our features was down in Argentina, in Spain. They put us down there. I didn't go there, but the publications was there. Okay, highlighting us on fertility. I work with the top embryologist of China, of Wuhan, on IVF. There's a Professor Tam who do on this. He told me I'm an IVF expert of China, #1. I'm coming to you is because I read your stem cell book. I heard about you, and I'm amazed that you can do that, because IVF cannot do it. I say it's so simple. You just stimulate by giving the pituitary, send a message to the adrenals, give the liver to do the metabolization of the hormones, give the female placenta, and give the ovary. And that's what he did. Of course, we also do it for the man for the fertility. Okay. So again, with wounds, simple wounds are so easy to be treated. You can even spray on it. Okay. And they will do a wonderful job with the placenta. Placenta is good for wound healing, but when you add the placenta with the skin, it's good. These are topical. It's not even injectable. Of course, you can inject around the area too. With the face, these are all done. You know, we do a lot of aesthetics, for your information. We work with a lot of plastic surgeons. Okay. I do supply to, I would say, hundreds and thousands of plastic surgeons. I work with a lot of Korean Gangnam String doctors. All the Gangnam String doctors there, we go to Korea, we are all in Gangnam String. Okay. Yes, they will buy OEM and rebrand. Okay. And that's what we are doing. Okay, there's so many things that have been done, but every time everyone asks about my hair during the COVID, about giving a lot of webinars, everyone texts me, what do you think, what you did for your hair? I say, I did nothing. Every hotel I go, I use the same shampoo, whatever is in the hotel, okay? But I still lose 100 strands of hair a day, even today. I still lose, okay? But if you can grow hair, then you're not worried. The only worry you have is you lose hair and you don't grow back, okay? So I can grow the hair and the eyebrow, and we are done 4 publications with this, okay, on our own. These are in stem cell journals. You can grow back there. You can grow your eyebrow, okay? And you're finishing soon, huh? Okay. So these are some of the pictures I just want to show you. These are all real horses treated in Malaysia. They are all race horses, but they are, can you go back? These are sadly a very sad case, you know. The champion horses, after some time, they aged, the owner didn't take care of them. So they're left there to rot. Okay. So I spent a lot of money treating the horses to show that we can treat the horses because it's a sad situation. The owners don't take care of them. So we actually did it for free. Okay, these are all done in Malaysia for your information. Okay, and I believe there's so many things we have done here. If we can treat humans, we can also treat all the animals. Okay, it's just that horses and camels are 7 times the price of human, so it costs very expensively. Okay, so many things, and some are just spray on. If you need any information, capture this, and then you can ask me any information you want, and you can see a lot of educational materials.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to talk about regenerative medicine. I believe you heard a lot. So I call it from evidence-based to translational approach. But mostly I'm going to talk about novelty. You know what's novelty? Yeah, novelty is something very difficult to pull in a such strict regulated environment as you are all in. Couple of words about myself. I'm a medical doctor, graduated a long time ago. And then I did my postgrad, specialized in surgery, and then in surgical endoscopy. I did my PhD in reconstructive surgery, did my aesthetic medicine, did my postdoctorate study, and so on and so forth. I'm also accredited educator in a medical field by International Accreditation Organization, USA, and a member and fellow of different associations and all. But here, mostly I'm here to talk about novelty. I have to make a disclaimer. This is not a lecture. This is not for educational purposes. This is not a medical advice. This is just a program speech or a program pitch. You know, it's up to you. So you can either sleep or just open your mind a little bit. And I'm going to talk about novelty that brought me here. And it's a quality of being new and unusual, something that has not been experienced before and so is interested. In a way, we can say that it doesn't exist because everything what we think that we are doing first time in our life has been done by someone else before. Okay, so novelty doesn't exist in a way. We also talk about precision medicine, personalized medicine and all. The idea that personalized medicine or precision medicine is individual treatments provided to the patient are hilarious. It's not like that. Personalized or precision medicine has been offered to you as a novelty. It's not. It's nothing else but treat a patient and not a disease. Precision medicine means that while you put your patient on a treatment plan, you dynamically follow him up. You see the changes in the blood parameters, biomarkers, and you adjust your treatment plan accordingly. By no means, it does not mean, by all means, here it doesn't mean that every patient will have an individualized treatment. It's just a ludicrous idea. It doesn't exist. But you have to approach to every patient like to the person. That's true. So 25 years ago, when I was just a fresh graduate, very young doctor, I had no options here because I was also in a very regulated environment. I had no options for novelty. I had no rights by law come up with some new ideas, right? Because I was just a doctor, like you're gonna be, like you. And you basically have no rights. You have only obligations and duties. So I had that character that always liked novelty. So I was using things that I already known. So I was doing the research as a young doctor, working in a surgical department, researching the parameters of the local immunity in the upper GI tract, and I found out that there is some relationship to the outcomes of different surgical procedures. and the local immunity. And then a few years down the road, I've come up with this, another publication, the method of surgical treatment of pylori duodenalsis, all published and cited now for quarter of a century in the PubMed, United States. I've come up with a patency for invention. I've an invention 20 years ago. I've written a book. I've come up with a surgical procedure. And that allowed me to do my PhD in reconstructive surgery and so on and so forth. Then later on, when I came to Malaysia and working here in Malaysia in also a very strict regulated environment, I had no option for novelty, right? So I just had to become the first to do laparoscopic liver resection instead of Sabah, or the first to do laparoscopic biliary reconstruction, laparoscopic assisted, and was a second white foreign doctor in Malaysia who participated in national transplant program. And I was the grant winner as a foreign doctor for Malaysia for Japanese Society of Hepatopancreatic Biliary Surgeons, because I've also applied novelty. I've come up with a modification of the Whipple's procedure. It's one of the most difficult surgical procedures existing. So while working and setting up a liver surgery department in state of Sabah in Hospital Queen Elizabeth, it's more than 10 years ago, come up with a new surgical procedure that Japanese liked it. They paid for it. And they invited me to Japan, and I met Masatoshi Makuuchi. You know the Makuuchi ligament, undergrad students? Makuuchi approach. Are there any surgeons here? There's a Makuuchi incision. This is a big star in surgery, Masatoshi Makuuchi. And then what novelty can you talk about when 30 years ago, less than 40 years ago, two American doctors, Ronald Klotz and Robert Goldman, has come up with the idea, and specifically one of them, Robert Goldman, come up with the idea of anti-aging medicine. 1988, 1987, anti-aging medicine doesn't exist. 1988, anti-aging medicine exists because somebody created it, right? And somebody was Robert Goldman. Yeah, that's him. So they have come up with the idea that they can eliminate disability, deformity, pain, disease, and eliminate the suffering, sorrow of the old age. And they call it anti-aging medicine. I think a couple of thousand years ago, people also wanted to overcome the suffering of the disease, right? So what novelty? It's just the same problem looked at from a different point of view. Regenerative medicine didn't exist 25 years ago. The term was created only less than 25 years ago. And they used stem cells. Stem cells were known in the 19th century. And so therapeutic cloning, genetics, genomics, nanotechnology, it's all known before. But of course, there is a novelty because it wasn't applied in regenerative medicine. There's a concept that aging is a damage accumulation and rejuvenation is a damage repair. That concept was proposed by one of the leading scientists in regen medicine, Professor Aubrey de Grey. That's his quote: aging is damage accumulation and rejuvenation is damage repair. That's Aubrey de Grey. Who knows Aubrey de Grey? You can watch him on YouTube. So that's also a novelty in a way. Or August Weismann in the middle of 19th century, he said that death takes place because a worn-out tissues cannot forever renew itself, and because the capacity of increase by means of cell division is not everlasting by finite. That's him. He was researching this microorganism, and he come to idea that when the cells are in the undifferentiated state, this organism can essentially live forever. The moment when cells start differentiating, acquire their final differentiation, this organism becomes mortal. So did he know about Hayflick limit? Who knows what Hayflick limit is here? Can you please raise your hand if you can? Hayflick limit? Okay. So yeah, he figured out that there is a half-life limit in the 19th century, although we found out about it 100 years later. And he also said that immortality is impossible, but we still can regenerate tissues with stem cells. 19th century. Novelty. And now we have agent people indeed. You all, as on this side, proponents of conventional medicine, and on this side, the future victims of conventional medicine. You've done a great job. You made us, I mean, the world population living longer, but you failed in making them living better. Why so? Because in another few years, in less than a decade, we're going to have at least a quarter of a global population, those who are older than 60 years of age. More than 60% of them have at least one of these chronic diseases of accumulation. More than 92% actually of them, and more than 60%, 65% have two or more diseases, any of these chronic disorders, which are the main drivers of aging and death, not like 100 years ago when it was mostly the death at the childbirth, right? Or dysentery, tuberculosis. Now it's different. Now we know how we age, and these are the drivers of aging: disrupted metabolism, macromolecular damage, when cells do not produce molecules as they should, epigenetic shifts, chronic low-grade inflammation, systemic inflammation. It's not the acute inflammation that you're talking about. You won't see it with a total white count raised, different parameters, unnecessary, cytokines and all, interleukins, you need to look into that. Impaired adaptation to stress, speaking about oxidative stress. Proteostasis, it's the diminished ability of the cells, tissue to clear the junk protein. Tau protein or beta amyloid plaque is the classical example of it. And there is not beta amyloid plaque. If your lecturers are still telling you that you develop or people develop Alzheimer's because of the accumulation of the beta amyloid plaque, it's wrong. It's not. Okay. And stem cells, loss of stem cells and loss of regenerative capacity. Speaking of the stem cells, you know who this gentleman is, right? It's Professor Arnold Kaplan, late. He passed away a few months ago. They call him the father of stem cells. Lifetime achievement for proof that MSCs have the ability to modulate immune system, inhibit both programmed death apoptosis, and stimulate blood vessel formation, neoangiogenesis, right? It's all the parts or the attributes of the tissue regeneration, and promote the growth of cells and differentiation of the specific stem cells. That's what he did. Now we know that regenerative medicine is using the cells and biologicals and create new technology, scaffolding, organoids, with the purpose of disabling the trigger of the disease and harnessing organism ability to repay itself. That's what regenerative medicine is. Pretty old idea. If you look back a few thousand years ago, Ayurveda, they were doing the same. TCM, they were doing the same. So once again, you just look at the same old problem from a different point of view. And we believe that regen or longevity medicine doctor of today and tomorrow should practice holistic medicine, genetic, molecular, precision, personalized. But in the end, it all brings down to a couple of genes, AMPK and mTOR, right? What else is there? Nothing else, especially those physiology or biochemistry lecturers who are here. And switching on or off these genes, because everything is binary, right? Everything is 0 and 1, plus, minus, present, absent, male, female, right? On, off. Catabolic state, anabolic state. Life is either catabolic state or anabolic state. It's either or, third one is death. So you just need to put patient in one of those states, catabolism or anabolism, that's all. Because you either need to preserve the energy and promote longevity. You don't synthesize molecules. You use up whatever you have in the cell, break it down to CO2 and water, right? And yield energy in the form of ATP from there. It's catabolic state, and you promote longevity. Or you repair and regenerate something, you promote synthesis, anabolic state. So when you manage your patients in terms of longevity, yeah, you're providing their lifespan and health span, you have to understand that if you keep them in catabolic state, you cannot regenerate their tissues. If you permanently keep them in anabolic state, high chances that with age, they will develop some tumor. They will die of immortality, the death from immortality, right? In other words, death from cancer. You have to understand that and transition your patients from one state to another. That's what we write in our books about how to do it. We have come up with a 4-step protocol: diagnose, detox, repair, rejuvenate. Nothing new. I believe you all know these words, but there is some novelty in here. We've come up with the 3 pillars of aging, 3 pillars of wellness. It's immune system support, metabolic optimization, hormonal optimization. So it's just easier for you to understand when you manage a patient, like how you're going to manage a patient, what you're going to give. When you're a GP doctor in your clinic, or you run family medicine clinic, or you sit in the internal medicine department, it's easy. The patient comes to you, you can just what to top mata, your brain is still sleeping, anticipating the lunch that you're going to have, still digesting the breakfast, and you see a patient coming in, and you have a reflex. You prescribe what? Some valsartan, some statins, metformin, give him paracetamol, and TCA 6 months. Easy, right? So for those who really want to help people, we have come up with this concept, like what you have to do. You have to take care of the immune system, metabolic optimization, and improve or maintain the hormonal status of your patients. We have a lot in arsenal for that. We have the entire conventional medicine. Whatever conventional medicine has, we can use it. We have stem cells, we have peptides, mitochondrial peptides, exosomes, extracellular vesicles. We have, can you bring back the picture, please? We have hormones and proto-hormones. We have the DHA creams. Let's go back. We have growth hormone, GH secretagogues. We have the whole new niche of peptides, such as TB500, BPC157, semaglutide, CJC1295. And you're going to graduate, and there are high chances that you will live throughout your entire career and you will not even hear these words at all. Age is because you will have no opportunity or too scared to step outside the frame, outside the box. Different forms of hormone replacement therapy, immunotherapy, organoids, tissue scaffolds, genes therapy, NAD, NMN, creatine, nitric oxide donors, various energy devices and all. This all is also part of the evidence-based medicine. But it takes a little bit of novelty and courage to practice it. So we know that stem cells, they work through the paracrine mechanism, so they express growth factors that stimulate tissue repair, neovascularization, angiogenesis, anti-inflammatory effects. And it was argued for a long time that stem cells can differentiate into the cells and stay in the body, perform function. It's clearly not true. Stem cells, MSCs, do not differentiate in vivo. Arnold Kaplan, the person who started using stem cells, and he was not actually the person who discovered MSCs, right? It was Friedrichsen who discovered MSCs, but Arnold Kaplan, shortly, within a couple of years, he came up with a clinical application. He said, we're going to use these cells, and that was in the early 70s, to treat different diseases. And he was thinking that those cells, the MSCs, doesn't matter where they procured from, bone marrow, placental cells, whatever, doesn't matter. The characteristics of the cells matter, yeah? And the characteristics of the cells were in the 21st century, so we talk about CD marker, CD plus, CD minus, yeah? So you do the immunohistochemistry, and the stem cells, they have a specific set of receptors, immunohistochemistry markers. If they're positive, this is a stem cell. If they're negative, it's not a stem cell, full stop. Everything else is just a blah, blah, blah. So he was under the impression that those cells will differentiate in vivo. And in the end of his life, he admitted that he was wrong. He gave this very long interview that was published in a medical journal called Stem Cells Translational Medicine in 2022, where he said that all our life, we thought that what you saw in the culture happens in the body, and the dogma is absolutely incorrect. Can you imagine? The guy, father of stem cells, spent his whole life on the stem cell. End of his life, he said, oh my God, I was so wrong. The mechanism of action was totally different from what I thought. And what we thought is the main mechanism of action is totally not true. Can you imagine something like that happening to you? What would you do? And then he even said MSCs are not stem cells. Can you imagine that? And he said that they, by no means, they can differentiate in vivo. Absolutely true, they can't. And he said that you need specific progenitors for that, and he was absolutely right. That's what Dato Mike was talking about for 1.5 hours, including but not limited to the topic of the progenitor stem cell. So these are the cells which still have stemness. Yeah, they still can sort of replicate itself, but they have no opportunity or no potential for cross differentiation. What they're going to differentiate into is pretty much predetermined. Unipotent cells. These are the only cells that can provide tissue regeneration. We have written books and a lot of articles on that. Books which have chapters on use of progenitor cells in different types of the pathologies, whether it's diabetes, whether it's immune restoration, whether it's osteoarthritis. What about the history in modern conventional medicine? The first published data goes back to 1912, when from Germany, 2 surgeons have published the experience of implantation of xenogeneic thyroid tissue. A couple of decades down the road, the same was repeated in pediatric patients and children with myxedema. They were treated with the injection of live fetal or young xenogeneic cells to combat the disease. Those cells stayed in the body and they were metabolically active. They produced thyroid hormones and thus improved patients clinically. Fast forward almost 100 years. Just 20, 30 years ago, laparoscopic implantation, a small clinical trial, 1996. They took patients with diabetes, implanted pancreatic cells. You all perhaps heard of the Edmonton protocol, right? It's coming from the city Edmonton in Canada, but they use cadaveric encapsulated cells. It's considered actually the gold standard for treatment of diabetes. So in this particular study, they rebiopsy some of the patients almost 10 years. 9.5 years after that, they look for the spot where they implanted cells in a greater amount and biopsied it. And, oh miracle, almost 10 years down the road, they still, with the help of the immunohistochemistry, they can identify that population of cells still surviving, almost a decade after. And about 6 years ago, Japan has considered and recognized the pancreatic cell transplantation as a golden standard for treatment of diabetes. It has been also used in treatment of neurodegenerative disorders like this particular study. There were 11 patients with Parkinson admitted for xenogeneic dopaminergic cell transplantation. 9 months after the transplantation, one of the patients passed away because of the pulmonary embolism. not related to the procedure, but because he was a subject in a clinical trial, he was rebiopsied, and they found that 9 months after the transplantation, the cells still survived, and not only survived, they the population increased, the cells expanded in vivo, and they created cell-to-cell connection with the patient's own cells. Patient improved clinically. They confirmed with the immunohistochemistry presence of the tyrosine hydrolase. It's the marker for the dopaminergic cells, and NF70 xenogenic marker confirmed that the cells are still not patient's own cells, but foreign cells. And another novelty, we look deeper into the drivers and mechanisms of aging, and we understand that there are the subcellular pathologies, especially the undergrad students. I encourage you to go online, YouTube, and listen to the lectures of Professor Robert Lustig. He's an American pediatric endocrinologist, so he talks a lot about it. You will learn many things. You will understand the mechanism of dyslipidemia. It has got nothing to do with the fat that we eat. It's totally on the contrary, right? The less fat you eat, the more deranged your lipid profile is. So he has come up with this. He calls them the hateful eight. And he concludes with the mitochondrial dysfunction. Yeah, more and more we pay attention to the mitochondrial function and mitochondrial natural occurring peptides. There's plenty of publications, just thousands of them in the past 10 years. Nothing before that. So now we know that we age because of the mitochondrial dysfunction, age faster, right? We develop insulin resistance, which is one of the main drivers together with the chronic low-grade inflammation and insulin resistance. Yeah, so it's the energy switch metabolism disruptions that make us age faster and become older and ill with the chronic diseases of accumulation. And we start using them therapeutically. When I say them, I mean mitochondrial peptides, natural occurring peptides. So you crack the genome, you crack the amino acid sequence, and you either use the recombinant or the naturally occurring. You procure that from tissue. See how much they do. All this is a published data. I put the citations where exactly. We also put some efforts in further research. When I say we, in this context, I mean European wellness. So we have launched a project together with the University of California, Irvine, and University of Heidelberg. We produced mitochondrial peptides, medicinal, and they've done their test. They've done the spectral analysis of the peptides. They characterized it. And they've done the gene ontology. They not only describe the structure, they characterize these peptides in terms of their function, intracellular function, what they do in terms of the metabolism. So they characterize the product in a vial and describe its biological actions. And we have done some experimental study also. We took the pancreatic peptides, pancreatic stem cells extracts, and injected them to the mice with the diabetes model. There were two groups. There was one treated with the mitopeptides, one was control group, the saline group. A standard model of diabetes induced. The human dose was scaled down to the body weight of the mice. They were injected, and the control group was injected with the saline for 17 weeks. In the end, we have checked some of the cytokines, specifically EPO, because EPO, erythropoietin, it has pleiotropic functions. It has the anti-apoptotic effect, and it stimulates the differentiation and maturity of the pancreatic cells. 90% increase of the EPO assay in the MO-treated mice. Then we checked their glycemic level for 17 weeks. And starting from the week 2, there was statistically lower median glycemic level in the more treated mice. And by the end of the 17th week, when the study was over, in the mitochondrial peptide treated group, we had a 33% greater non-diabetic mice than in the control group. 33% less of diabetes developed. It's pretty remarkable. Another study, I mean, what novelty can you look for in patients with some hypercholesterolemia, diabetes type 2, hypertension, ischemic heart disease? Pretty straightforward, you know what to do, right? Just give statins, metformin, give up PCM and 6 months TCA. We have made extra step. We have checked the parameters of the oxidative stress and antioxidant protection. We have found out that, yes, indeed, all those conditions were associated with a more than twice reduced mitochondrial peptides assay, and the catalase, superoxide dismutase, almost absent. And treatment of these patients, 2 to 3 months, just normalized that and brought it back to the practically normal range. So we have figured out that, yeah, these mitochondrial peptides, they really can help us with the biological age reversal. They work as performance enhancers. They enhance cognitive function as well, and they have anti-inflammatory effects. And of course, they help to optimize the metabolism. By the way, undergrad students, while the rest of the hall is sleeping, in your opinion, are you the undergrad students here? Yeah. What is the most metabolically important organ? 2. Metabolically most important organ. When I say metabolically, something that expresses hormones that will make you hungry or provide your satiety. No, it's not liver. Come on. 2. Most muscle tissue and fat tissue. It's a muscle tissue and fat tissue. These are 2 most metabolically important organs in your body. Okay? They decide the status of these 2 organs, the amount and the condition of your muscle tissue and the fat tissue decides whether you're metabolically ill or you're metabolically optimized. Inflammation, you heard of that, right? This is low-grade inflammation, one of the main drivers of aging, together with immunosenescence. Okay, so when we talk about immune restoration, hormonal restoration, metabolic restoration, these are all intrinsically connected. There was a study done, and I call it a very good example of confirmation bias. You know what's a confirmational biasness? When you have an opinion and you look for reassurance, the confirmation of your pre-existing opinion elsewhere. You know, so I came across the TRIM study. They actually have focused on the thymic regeneration because thymic gland is sort of shrinking, right? It's degenerating from as early as from the age of 5, 6 years old, but more actively after 16th birthday. So they provided this thymic restoration, thinking that they will see the improvements in overall survival, some immune status, cancer and all, but they were shocked with the outcomes. They saw that just by providing the thymic regeneration, they reduced the inflammatory markers, they reduced other markers of aging, there were profound metabolic changes, and the secondary findings actually overwhelmed the primary findings of this study. So just by restoring the immunity, you can sort of rewind your biological age, the epigenetic age. They've done the global methylation test. Pretty remarkable. Do we know how to regenerate thymus? Yes, and it's published. It's 3 substances: thymic precursor cells, thymic peptides or hormones, 6 of them, and growth hormone. So you can regenerate thymus by the means of these 3 in any age. You can also help reduce the autoimmune component with age. You can also reduce the chances of overall cancer just by stimulating the macrophages, macrophage activating factor, and using the transfer factors. Transfer factors are something in between the discovered pretty recently, 1968 only. It's something that has the features of the immunoglobulins and the interferon, very low molecular, low size, low molecular weight molecules. But if you add them on to the chemotherapy, you can actually double the outcomes, improve the outcomes. In terms of the survival, you can double, reduce the inflammatory interleukins. And if you add that on to the treatment protocols, I mean the macrophage activation, to the treatment protocols of the breast cancer, you can further reduce tumor load by 50%, or the hepatocellular carcinoma, you can significantly reduce tumor load. So this all works as an addition to the existing therapies. Dato Mike also mentioned about the ASI. Our German lab develops the active specific immunotherapy, which is based on the anti-idiotypic phenomenon. And also it's basically, it blocks the receptors in the cancer cells in the body. And this type of vaccine is prepared individually. It's autologous from either tissue of the tumor or the patient's blood. And it can be used in autoimmune conditions, allergic disorders, cancers, or just as a part of the anti-aging rejuvenation protocols. We have a publication on this when we treated almost 10 years ago, one patient with a severe refractory eczema. There was basically nothing helping him. And just with a biological immunotherapy, in a span of 4 months, yeah, it wasn't overnight, took us some time, 4 to 5 months of treatment, managed to reverse it. And because the autoimmune component was practically gone, the patient is well since then. No systemic or topical steroids for years and years. It's photos before and after. We have published there a lot, use of the biological immunotherapy in various forms of cancer, including the advanced cancer, stage 4, just extending patients' life and improving the quality of life. Even in COVID, in different forms of the metastatic carcinomas, in autoimmune conditions, and interstitial pneumonia with autoimmune component. It's all published. It's all published in the books also, how to regenerate thymus, all the clinical studies, meta-analysis, everything is there. Metabolic optimization and hormonal optimization, very much related, because a low T syndrome, hypogonadism, low testosterone syndrome, is associated with insulin resistance, obesity, hypertension, almost 4-fold increase of the cardiovascular events, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, but mostly because it promotes a leptin resistance, increase the pro-inflammatory cytokines and all. It's all just a low testosterone, you know. So it promotes sexual dysfunction, frailty, sarcopenia, loss of muscle tissue, depression, because the steroid hormones, they also act as the neurohormones. Yeah, perhaps you heard of the pregnenolone, you know, or the certain forms of the estrogen, like a methyl estrogen, for instance. Yeah, it's a bit toxic, but gives an extreme feel of happiness and well-being. So it has the like anti-anxiety, anti-depressant effects. And hypogonadism, eventually in both men and women, reduces health span and lifespan. So having a normal hormonal profile, very important. Unfortunately, existing treatment strategies are not optimal. They either do not guarantee 100% success, or they're a bit sketchy sometimes, especially female hormone replacement therapy. It's actually more dangerous and dodgy than male hormone replacement therapy. So we have modified it. You know, we have come up with the idea stimulating the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal gonadal axis with mitochondrial peptides, and we added on to the synthetic LH, which is the ACG, known as the ACG therapy with the hormonal precursors. You have to understand, memorize, what is actually, what is the molecule that all sex hormones are made of, undergrad students? From which molecule? Testosterone, estrogen, DHEA, pregnenolone, cortisol, progesterone. Which molecule is it made of? Biochemistry. Cholesterol, of course, yeah. So if you're on a low cholesterol diet, can you produce synthesized hormones? No, you can't, right? So you need to eat what? Cholesterol, yeah? You need to tell your patients that they must eat what? Cholesterol. And repeat it, everyone. You need to tell your patients that they must eat. Remember this. Okay? No cholesterol, no life. No cholesterol, no hormones. No cholesterol, no cellular membrane. The guy who told 1973 that you should go on a low cholesterol diet was wrong. It happens. The guy who is the father of stem cells was thinking that stem cells can multiply in the body. He was wrong. He admitted it. Don't be afraid. Everyone knows that you must eat cholesterol already, okay? Just the KKM still thinks otherwise. We have treated number of patients with premature hypogonadism. This is day 0. This is day 120. It's a total testosterone level in the entire cohort without hormone replacement therapy. From this moment onwards, the patients did not receive any treatment for 1 year. They were just followed up and they preserved their hormonal profile. Similar was done in female patients. We took the patients with a premature menopause or pathological menopause with a low estradiol, high FSH, treated them with the same approach without hormone replacement therapy. It's the crucial detail here is that you need to diagnose and start treatment very early stage. Has to be less than a year of loss of menstruation. Yeah, if more than that, if your young lady goes in a complete menopause, high chances that you can't reverse it. Early diagnosis, early management, we have published it. There's actually 2 papers published on this topic. More recently, we have come up with a paper about the diagnostic and management of the unexplained infertility with a biological approach. That's that paper published, and then it was translated into Spanish, and recently was added into the 2nd edition of a book. It's like a manual on treatment of unexplained infertility in Spanish language. And this doctor, Dr. Margarita, standing here, she's the collaborator for this work and for this work. She's the gynecologist. We've done the female job. We have also have some very interesting cases, like the case of, I call them the 2 Michaels. One Michael with a kidney failure, one Michael with a liver failure. One Michael who was on hemodialysis and was told to go for the kidney transplant. Another Michael was on a liver transplant list and he was told to go for the liver transplant. Spoiler alert, none of them went for transplant in the end. Everyone survived, happy ending, okay? So this guy, he came in age of 50 years old with a full-blown liver failure. Those who still remember what Child's score is, what the MELD, model of end-stage liver disease. So this guy was with the jaundice, all the signs of liver failure on the transplant list. Treated. See, this was before. He had 2 sessions of stem cell implantations, July and November last year. And when he was reevaluated in March 2024, normal child score, model of end-stage liver disease, 9 means normal, and practically normal parameters. No jaundice, no liver failure, patient is doing fine, no medications, removed from the liver transplant list with the stem cells. And this gentleman, it's a horrific case, came to us 6 years ago, in age of 68, with a history of myocardial infarction, attempted balloon dilatation, attempted stenting, hemopericardium, myocardial perforation, to open heart surgeries, mitral valve replacement, bilateral renal artery thrombosis, end-stage kidney disease, regular hemodialysis, ejection fraction 27, dilated cardiomyopathy, practically left to die. GFR was 9 when we started treating him. But again, we started very early. He was less than a year on hemodialysis. We have done a lot, you know, all the heavy horses of the heavy artillery. In total, 6 doses of stem cells over a span of 5 years in 3 major implantations. And a huge amount of other treatments like meldonium. You heard of meldonium, right? Every time when you hear news about some Olympic Games scandal, this guy is caught, that lady is caught, you know, so you hear all this word meldonium, carnitine, carboxylase, NIC, and these all in a high doses, IVs, and given like regularly, placental growth factors, hyperbaric oxygenation, IV laser, ECP, mitochondrial peptides for years and years. Studied in November 2018 with the GFR 9, ejection fraction 27, and regular hemodialysis 3 times a week. And as of March 2024, his GFR is 45. His ejection fraction is from 37 to 45. And he's got all of it. He's got the LBB, he's got the atrial fibrillation with the atrial flutter. It's a really heavy patient for cardiac CCU that we managed to pull him over, and he is having at the age of 72, good quality of life and GFR 45. By the way, that was not the only CKD case that we treated. We have 2 papers published on that, 2 small studies with different amount of patients. That's the statistics. We took patients from CKD 3A to stage 4, and we managed to downstage, not reverse, downstage, the correct word, correct term for that is downstaging the CKD in all those patients. We do also a lot of interesting work with Alzheimer's. This particular patient, you see these pictures, he's about 74, 75 years old. This is after the treatment already. He had like a new life started, you know, after stem cell treatment. And this is the Alzheimer's patient. He's so improved. He's so improved that ended up in Australian newspaper. Let's read together what it says. News release. Eric Brown, his name is Eric Brown, is enjoying working in the garden after stem cell treatment in Kuala Lumpur. Old Eric flourishes on stem cells. We work a lot with the neurodevelopmental conditions for years. I've been presenting and talking about autism, and our company is helping both Dato, Mike Chan, and Michelle Wong, his spouse. They are very passionate about corporate social responsibility, and especially when it's coming to the kids, children with the special needs, cerebral palsy and all. Almost a decade ago, we have come up with this publication about treatment strategies, the novel treatment. Again, we're talking about novelty of the autism spectrum disorders. We described the entire protocols, and then later on, it came up in the books. See, it's a bit of statistics. 60% received more than 1 stem cell implantation. The parents keep on coming back. 15% have received up to 7 stem cell grafts. It means that parents see the improvements in their children on the spectrum after every treatment, and they keep on coming for years and years. It's a photo from Vietnam. This came all the way from Chile. Actually, not even from Chile, from the Robinson Crusoe Island. Check it on the Google map. 3 hours on a speedboat off coast of Chile. Went to Germany to get treatment from autism with stem cells. From the event a couple of weeks ago, Autistic Association. And we use, apart from cellular therapy, stem cells and the peptides, and we use a lot of the biomedical devices, such as the systemic hypothermia. By the way, a very big clinical trial on the advanced forms of the breast cancer was done in HKL, years ago, about 8 years ago. The company who is manufacturing that Heckle, they sponsored, they put in Hospital of Kuala Lumpur device, and ladies with the advanced forms of the breast cancer who went for the neoadjuvant therapy before the surgery for the purpose of shrinking tumor, making it operable, there were 2 groups, control group, nothing, and main treatment group, those who received sessions of systemic hypothermia together with the chemo and radio, and you have a 50% more shrinking of the tumor, reduction of the tumor load in the treated group. The machine was so expensive that HKL couldn't afford it, so the company sponsor took it back. The only machine that is available in Malaysia, this machine, actually belongs to our group. So our group definitely cannot compare itself the amount of money and the richness, with the Kementerian Kesehatan, but somehow we can afford for our patients and KKM cannot. Weird. Although they've done the trial that confirmed that it's effective. IV lasers of different 3 spectrum. It turns out that different laser spectrums, when the probe is inserted inside the blood vessel, and it irradiates for 20 minutes, half an hour, it stays in a lumen of the blood vessel. Different spectrum affects or has effect on the different cytochromes, different mitochondrial complexes. So we understand how the disease happened, the mechanism, the pathways of the disease, and we try to influence that from all possible directions, all possible angles with the biological therapies. The latest research from the Harvard published in 2023, it turns out that the laser inside the vein can also stimulate release and production of new stem cells, nitric oxide release, hyperbaric oxygenation, which is not a novelty, right? It's been used as in hyperbaric medicine for the barotraumas, for some cases of toxicity, the accidents with the scuba divers and all. But the research that was published again just last year says that sessions of hyperbaric oxygenation increase the expression of specific different types of the stem cells. See, when Dato Mike says that there are so many stem cells, different stem cells, how do they differ? Just by immunohistochemistry. That's it. That's how you should think in a 21st century. Transcranial electrical and electromagnetic stimulation. You perhaps didn't even hear about that, right? You know where it's used like massively in United States military hospitals. They use that for patients with a PTSD. They use that for patients with the suicidal attempts. They use that for patients with addiction. Okay, it's a wonderful method of pain management as well. When opioid analgesics do not work anymore, you can actually target the pain receptors directly, the central pain receptors. I mean, not the receptor, the pain centers in the brain. And the different protocols, they target different parts of the brain, including the neurohumoral, the production of the neurohormones. And again, although we look for something new, we do not forget about the basic principles of the medicine, the modern medicine, which is evidence-based. Compare everything and publish. Publish, let people see, let people doubt it, criticize it, maybe support it, and ultimately use it.
My topic today based on outsourcing for our local geochemical biomass to ensure we have enough source for stem cell. My focus will be something coming from our geochemical flora and fauna, and I will focus on most of my talk on marine biomass. And based on that, I will also extrapolate some of the research that been done by Lincoln University researchers. We need to know that Malaysia is very, very filled with very specific flora and fauna, and we are covering a lot of our coastal and our inland area with very inventory and very meaningful ecosystem that landscape ourselves. We here practice a lot of traditional and food medicines. And basically that is also part of stem cell regeneration. And we believe that Malaysia is second best to Indonesia in terms, sorry, in terms of biodiversity. It's very important for us to know that nature provides very much important substances that have been now revealed as bioactive compounds. And most of these have been synthetically improved, adulterated. And we need to know that whatever is it, more of these are inland. These are from inland biomass. And we need to know that they have done their job by improving the quality of life and giving some protection to humans and animal health. We need to know that from all this biomass, we have now potent drugs such as morphine, atropine, tuberculin, and most of these are from the plants ecosystems. But now we need to be prepared because in 2035, it is postulated that more than 10 million human population will be presented in our beautiful world. It is very important that by that time, we have all the added value compounds and bioactive present. Difficulty is that inland plant bioactive is not really that feasible, and you need a very much in a lab work, a very big amount just to get a few grams of these therapeutic values. So most of my studies today will be based on case studies that we have done and what Lincoln University have done. In my case, I have studied a lot on the marine invertebrates, mainly called sea cucumbers. In Indonesia, it is called trepang, and in Langkawi is called Bruno. Okay, basically this is our Equidomata. But here I will reveal later, and most of our work from our Lincoln University will come on into botanical studies, where most of the study come from our local indigenous plants. Where we need to see what are the compounds that can be contributed as a biomass to ensure tangible compound can be gained. For the first medicinal practice in Malaysia, we will present an article that is based on propolis. Propolis, for those who know, is the resin of the honey. The honey here in Malaysia is called kelulut. Kelulut, honey kelulut. And we have found that this honey contains a lot of flavonoids and phenolics. It is very important. We are, before this, were in process of building a canister spray for throat infections and for candida infection, because we have found that the formulation inside this is very good for various illness. And we think that this can be further stipulated and can be further if more collaborative and grants can be initiated. This is the canister that we run, and this is the honey that we have. This is the propolis or the resin that is in the pot. We have produced a lot of papers, but we have not. We need an expert in pharmaceutical industries to harness this, and we think it really works. It's a whole paper. There's about 50 slides of this, but this is just an introduction of this. Yeah. And basically from the team of Lincoln University is Associate Prof. Dr. Idris, who is doing more on microbial product, and this is done also using ethnomedicinal uses of some medicinal plants. And this have brought a lot of papers and review, and he now owns a company for skincare, and most of it is tapping on the Malaysian herbal products. Another on ethnobotany based on herbal medicine is done by Professor Satish, and he is doing that to expand the usage of herbal medicines for treatment of various health challenges in different health settings. And this is very important because now most patients depend on drugs. And this is important because a lot of, in 2006, the global spending for prescription drugs went up to about 650 billion US. And because of that, it reflects that human cannot live without medicines. So whatever we want to do, cell therapy, or we want to do incorporation of sorry, I'm not that relaxed. Whatever therapy that we need, we cannot run away. That this is the idea. Human cannot run away from medicines. And but is the problem if we are focusing on this, on herbals or ethnobotanics, this development, the drug development, takes a very long time, and the process also can have a low rate of success. This is the problem. Even later, I will reflect if we are reflecting on vertebrates as compared to marine invertebrates. Challenges that the Lincoln University have with this phytochemical from herbs is also that they are trying to get this biological active constituent out, the flavonoids, the tannins, and the terpenoids, but there are problems with its solubility. But basically, whatever that they have done, they are now, and as mentioned just now, Pro-Chancellor's team is very much in nanoemulsions. And with that, they hope that they will make a breakthrough and make this herbal products to be more for the billion bottom of Malaysia. Now, other than that, we have another researcher who are now using all this as a biopolymer-based nanolaminates. The researcher hopes to develop potential for food preservation, health benefits, and exploring what they call packaging solutions for the world and Malaysia. The researcher is Dr. Tamina Bhattacharya, and she has been working since day one in research. Sorry. From the study of bioinformatics I mentioned just now to organic synthesis of anti-cancer agent and systems of carbon dioxide and their packaging capabilities. These have been patented, and you have to go back. And this have been patented. Okay, we will stay here. Now, for today, I need to introduce this analogy that the ocean is actually a drugstore. And why? Because 25% of all marine specimens are found in the coral reef. Here we can see nice picture which show the presence of a lot of organisms and fauna within a very small area. In this one small square area, we can find about 1,000 species of organisms. There is a big, huge biomass option. Okay, and here we can see this is the seaweed, the red seaweed, and this is a seaweed that we found among the first seaweed to be revealed to have this laurenterol compound, which is very good. It's a brominated terpene. We have studied this and seen as an anti-cancer agent. So why I have selected this study? Because for the stem cells and whatever we want, whether we want pluripotent cells or we want unipotent cells, we have to look first at the biomass. But there are problems for Malaysia. In Malaysia, if we are focusing like for the marine invertebrates, let's say the sea cucumbers, the adulis, they are important. In Malaysia, the sea cucumber, as I mentioned now, in Indonesia is called trepang, in Langkawi is called prono. We have a very specific sea cucumber identified as gamma. I will reveal them better. In the world, there are about 1,450 sea cucumber species. Yeah, but in Malaysia, there are 7 species identified as gamma in Malaysia. They are believed in food medicine as therapeutic sea cucumbers. And we have studied that every day. But the problem here, although it's well known, everybody know we have gamut, but they lack improper taxonomy, improper database about their proposal. But most important for me is this subject. They are actually a very good regeneration model. They are very important. You can see later, like what Dr. Klokol and Prof might say about this potential of stem cell unipotent or kind of marula cells or all these potential dedifferentiation cells. They are present in this model in this invertebrate. I will reveal that later. And most importantly, there's a lot of other things. If you want to use this as a biomass to reveal stem cells and everything, there is no real culture. In India, in Mediterranean, especially Korea, Japan, and China, they are billionaires in aquaculture of sea cucumbers. But Malaysia, not even in Pangkor or Langkawi, we cannot do it. We do not have a proper aquaculture or mariculture setup. So because of that, I think I'll go faster than this. We need to know that this is something. If we want to study stem cell, and if we want to outsource stem cell from marine invertebrate, we need to know this. That here in differs than an invertebrate or a plant, the ability of a stem cell from aquatic is that they are able to generate an embryo from a single fertilized oocyte. We have seen that, especially in gamma. This is very important because although we know there's complexity between inland vertebrates and marine invertebrates, there are capability. Later I will show that this stem cell biology, the regeneration based on their productive or productivity. It means their sexual, asexual variability can produce continuous biomass of unipotent stem cells. In the marine, they are different from us. We are only sexually reproductive. In marine, they have budding, they have asexual, and they have sexual. So, and with all this is the message to take home is that they are the cell in their biomass is continuously de-differentiating. Their cell is a very good regenerative maker. They are almost reorganized every time. And they are always available mass, not just from embryology. The whole embryology of the stem cell is produced throughout their whole life. And they can repair themselves almost automatically at what time they want it. Like here you say that we will say that if we compare the stem cell of a vertebrate in terms of the feature is that in a vertebrate cell they retain all the NA level and very slow in their cycling, whereas in vertebrate is very fast. The cell cycle is faster. That means the differential of cell is high, and we have availability of this cell there. Okay, and we need to know that in the stem cell in the other vertebrates, they are also not only slow, but they are presented in a very low numbers as compared to the aquatic, which will outnumber this cell population. Our latest paper today will show that the cell population that is found in sea cucumbers indigenous to Terengganu Island, there is Florida, is that this cell is able to produce glycosaminoglycan. Very important. And we have studied that also to see all the biomass coming from microalgae, which is the seaweeds, and a very important wasted predator of coral reef, that is the crown of thorn and our sea cucumbers. What is glycosaminoglycan? Glycosaminoglycan is a very diverse carbohydrate associated polysaccharides of the extracellular surface. It is found within the biomass or within the body of the sea cucumber. And we have found that there are a lot of novel biomarkers and molecular players within this biomass. And it is found that there are a lot of potential anti-cancers, there are cytokines, and reflection for this from these glycosaminoglycans. And the problem why we are because we need to outsource the biomass from marine is because here in Malaysia, although we have like stem cell coming from animals and vertebrates, they are not considered as halal, and we are scared of zoonosis, and that's why we are outside. And our glycosaminoglycan has also showed that they can enhance osteoblast dedifferentiation of bone marrows. This is very, very important. Yeah. Go to the detail of that. And in our research, we have shown that using this glycosaminoglycan, it has caused reepithelialization, it can cause keratinization, it can cause neovascularization, and fibroblast dedifferentiation. So glycosaminoglycan from marine source, especially from sea cucumber, does work, but it needs to go further from this. As mentioned just now, wasted predator who is vegetating found around our majestic coral, but our coral now is having problem because they are deforesting because of the climate change and also by the predating event by this crown of thorn. Mind you, the thorn that is the crown of thorn shown here is older than any of us. It is about 120 years old. And I need to show that in our paper, we have shown that again, we have extracted glycan, and it is very potent. And we will show you that that we have produced another topical application. We call it icon myget. Okay? And it is because it's taken from ancestor plantae and was extracted from Pulau Perhentian, and we found that it is potent, filled with sulfate, and we have prepared as a odorless fluid suspension therapy, and we can use this as an interperitoneal injection, and it has shown to reveal the prowess in wound healing. And our research also has shown that if we were searching an alternative for tamoxifen, actually for cancer therapy, we have found that the biomass glycosaminoglycan coming out from the Acanthus plantae have shown to be quite potent and can be an apothetic effect, can produce apothetic effect that that can replace that apothetic effect that is induced by tamoxifen. Yeah, sorry about this. And our GMAS and HPLC study have shown that other compound that are found in the biomass of crown of thorn is vitamin E, alumite, arachidonic acid, very important, yeah, because this will be involved in degranulation of human polymorphic leukocytes. They found methyl athenite and methyl palmitate. All of these are quite important, yeah. We have tested on mice. If we were to give these granules of TOT to them, and we give it, they become sedative, and they can come out from their cages and become, stable. And maybe I need it now, but this is what have happened in our. We have shown that it also have have a sedative effect. You can give a relaxation. It's very important to know that the biomass-derived compound have therapeutic potential and need to be further formulated or fabricated as pharmaceuticals devices. But we need collaboration. We need more expert, especially in pharmaceutical industries. We need more help. So maybe this day today we can work further and work so because we have now, I will reveal later after this that we have proper biomass centers or area or range that can ensure a proper vouchered biomass of all those bioactive or biocompound is presented. And very important, whether that from marine or from inland, we need to show properly that you have anti-inflammatory and immunomodulatory regenerative properties. That is why we are trying to do it. And based on that, we think we have good geochemical biomass that is prepared to enter ventures with any stems or regenerative medicines collaborations. This is the gamut. This is the gamut. You have this is very special. This is very special for me. In Terengganu, this is called gamat sawo. It behaves like a python. It's for those who have not who know sea cucumber, it's about 300 grams. This one can go almost 2 kilos. So biomass sauce is there. So we can prepare a very good sauce here. Okay. This is the most expensive. People have been reporting this from 1901. But our field survey, we have done field survey in various areas from Singapore to Langkawi, Langkawi to Phuket. This is called gamat emas. It's no more present. But people are still reporting, and one cough mixture company is still saying they are producing cough mixture with this gamat. I will not reveal that name. But this is not really that present anymore. Yeah, this is what we have studied: Stichopus harmoni and Stichopus vastus. These are very important, but they are indigenous only in Pulau Terengganu coastal area. Yeah, they are very special. You don't really find this in Penang, Pangkor, or in other islands near Johor. We have done almost a whole Malaysia survey to see this area. But this one, Stichopus vastus and Stichopus harmoni, we have aquaculture. So because why we have aquaculture, we have built the first aquaculture in Malaysia because we want to outsource, and we don't want, if there is industrial needs, we will not depend on wild stock population. So we can do that. You can see here that in this, this is the neural tube, the main nerve system within a sea cucumber. Sea cucumber anatomy is different than the vertebrates. If we have like this, we have our mouth, our lung, our gastrointestinal. Sea cucumber is the reverse. You still have the mouth, but the whole reproductive system is here. It's different, yeah. And the whole lymphoid, all the inflammatory parts is here. Like us, we have the bursa there, we have the thymus there, mentioned just another, but this is reverse. And why I call sea cucumber differently? Do you know that I call sea cucumber as a pregnant lady with asthmatic? I be mentioning that. I do not want to impress from my, but you can see here, it's missing there. Can I have the Next, just now slide, please. Okay. It's asthmatic because those who understood histology will show that that is a plasma cell. The cartwheel look of the nucleus is at the peripheral. Yeah, it's like here we call it for budak kampung. We call it kereta lembu. If you take the kereta lembu, you have a big wheel. You have all these spike wooden wheel, and it's like that. And plasma cell is inflammatory cells. It is visitant cell. It only comes when you have fever, you have inflammation. But in a normal sea cucumber, is presented. And you have here, those who are in ONG, you have what is called marula cell. So that's why this is pregnant, but this doesn't relate to pregnancy because they have the gonad up here. And so you need to know. So that's why I'm telling, what I want to say is that they have a lot of stem cells that can, and they are repeating, differentiating towards life. Okay. If we have marula cells in our, not me, in the ladies' ovaries and everything, it only stop after that phase. Then after that, it will become a tinea and no more. And this is, but in invertebrates from the marine aquatic, this could be continually produced. We show here some. We have to go back, I think. This is some of, we have to go in front. Some of our study from various sea cucumbers, from microalgae and plankton, and what we have characterized. We can see there's a lot of bioactive presence, and most of them are associated with very specific cells, which need to be further extrapolated and studied. But when we compare that to other publication, we found that it is not only just used as functional food, it's also for disease prevention. So we have here a biomass that can be outsourced for vertebrates or plant inland. Why we were doing it? Because many years ago, when I was a very handsome young man, we studied that on keloid and hypertrophic scars. We actually injected. If you can see here, this is the endothelial cell of an occluded vessel within keloid hypertrophic patients. And you can see the epithelial is protruding into the lumen. But when we give an extract of this, which is containing actually magnesium, zinc and magnesium and sulfur, we can see that the lumen is open. So we thought, yeah, this has potential in repairs. So we have studied that from this. And that time we were using Stichopus variegatus, another species as compared to what we are studying now on Stichopus vastus and Stichopus harmoni. Believe me, when I presented this to OIC, the Islamic Council Conference, they was the first question they asked me was, who am I? And I say, I'm just your regular oral surgeon. And I've known management, but I am very good in microscopy from my, I am the president of Malaysian Microscopy of Malaysia, and I'm the longest president for 13 years. So that is why we started this study, okay? And that we produce another one. From this Stichopus, we produce what is called MyStichogag. And this have been injected to use for dermatitis, for wound healing. And it shows very, very much. We hope that one day will help us to get pattern of this. And this is what. And another is from my StickOGAT, we have a LEAD StickOGAT. This is a more improved version, and we were working with this with National University of Singapore. Okay? And we are treating it because we are scared with patients with hemophilia. We have seen our StickOGAT and LEAD StickOGAT and compared with whatever gamma or cucumber available in Malaysia. And we found this is very functional. And this is taken almost 99% from the silver fluid from the Singapore. In a cucumber, there are a lot of things, lot of anatomical entity that can be used. Either their skin, the fluid, the gonads. Each of them have different therapeutic values, and they can harness different things. And we have done that. And we hope this can be patented one day. And this is other than this, the bioactive compound, the glycosaminoglycan, we are outsourcing for this. That also we have problem with collagens because of these issues. We want halal collagen. So because of that, we are outsourcing for this, and we believe that the cucumber is potential, and also because of this spongiform encephalitis, that come from bovine. So we are trying to do that, and very nice. In cucumber, they have what they call mutable collagen. The collagen is mutable, but we can explore and define and process very nice collagen to be used. We can see the arrangement, the triple helix. We can see the all here. It is very, very good. Yeah, but we need to go to industry. We need to process this as a halal collagen. We have papers for this to ensure sorry, because it's close to lunch, and that's why I will hurry up. Okay. So to ensure the collagen just now, we have done this. We have done a first part is that we have done mariculture using this cage-like structure. Yeah, we try to range cucumber so that there is no dependence on the wild stock. This is done. Next. Here, beneath this jetty. Go back, please. We have done this, and this is at Pulau Sayak, way about Langkawi. We have been monitoring a lot about, there's a lot of gametes, it's no more there. I cannot quote it, but do not really buy gamete products. I don't quote me like that, but there are we have a good, and to do that we have done mariculture to get our vouchered gamete species for industrial fabrication as tangible products. Next, please. And another way is that we have rented a place in Besut in Terengganu to do this kind of indoor ranching. Gamat or sea cucumber are scared of lights. These have been dark, yeah, and we have done that, and we have got gametes, and we are able to range it for a few years now. And we have a proper setup. I have even designed guideline and therapeutic how you can range this indoor. This is the first one ever in Malaysia. Nobody in Malaysia have done it. This business I actually improved from what I saw in Xindao province in China. So this is an improved. This is the Malaysian level, and I have for gamat sawo and gamat emas. Next, please. To help this ranching and to reduce dependence because of the climate change and everything, I have designed a proper house for them because they have to be protected from our climates and our lights. I have designed a artificial reef. I call it as a French word, limachons de copidé. So it means a house for sea cucumber. This is it. And we have shown that. Next, please. That this can be implanted. Yeah, it cost me about 10,000 just to move this from Besut to Pulau Redang. And this has been improved, and we can see the vastus is there. Next, please. This is very specific because it enriched with a lot of the species-specific composition, which means whatever sand, whatever. This is the design. I shouldn't show this because it will not be patented, but this is among the first in Malaysia. I'm not sure in Southeast Asia, but we have this. We have select very specific pebbles, dried corals that we think are there. Sea cucumber are sediment sand eater. So this is their food. So we create that artificial reef with their food. So it was, and we can see that it works. Next, please. This is the design that we did. Yeah. Sorry to see about that. It should be Lincoln there. Okay. Okay. The next, please. And this. When we implanted that, we designed it as like an orchid, and we have swimmers and snorkeling. When I was a bit more young, I was the one who do all this swimming, not swimming, scuba diving and snorkeling. So we put it in the depth about 15 to 20 feet. Yeah. And we can see that it really works. Okay. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Here, we put a cage just in case they run away because they are very good. We can see that soft coral is now developing. We can see that Hamana is coming, and we can see Coloranitus, Stichopus coloranitus is also coming. And we can see that this really works because it is eating this artificial reef. Next, please. And this is what I was saying just now for stem cell. If you were to cut this there, you don't have new gametes. You have two mothers. You don't have to marry 4. You will have 2 matured mother as biomass supply. You don't think this is a daughter, this is a son. No. If this is cut, it heals very fast. But what you have another mother. If you cut into 3, you have 3 mothers. So that, yeah, three wives. So this is the beauty of this. and it's very big. You can see my fingers, hold it, and this is very big biomass. Okay, so this is very nice as a outsourcing for bioactive or biocompound or even sulfated glycosaminoglycan. And you can see here that most of them is very, very big. You can see here it's more than almost a kilo because it's fallen down. Yeah, but basically it can go to about 2 kilos in weight. So that's why I'm recommending stickophosphates if there is a need for industrial extrapolation. Next, please. Again, I think we have studied that further. I think we don't need to elaborate this. Next, please. I'm almost finishing the. We have done cross-library check of the advantage of having our Psychocamber, our cultured version, which is having well vouchered, well taxonomized, well studied, biochemically, immunologically, and histologically. So we have a biomass already here. Okay. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. No, in front. So for the conclusion, almost finishing. Yeah. We think that to have something that's believing in industrial labor, we think marine polysaccharide nanomaterials are excellent source. And we believe that with proper nanotechnological application, this can be further adulterated, more religious accepted, and especially for drug deliveries, gene deliveries, even cancer therapies or wound dressing. We believe that the marine polysaccharides are really biocompatible, stable, safe, biodegradable, non-toxic products. Okay, and with that also we also believe that inventiveness of this biomass in what preparation we still have now have competitive edges. Next slide, please. We have documents, we have books. I also in the propolis, I'm almost finishing the final book. Also would be published in Dewan Bahasa and Pustaka format. And in that book, I have written about the role of our local geochemical propolis for COVID-19. Hopefully, I was planning it for the last month World Trade Malaysian Book Fair, but the editor got a breast cancer, so I told her to take that. So she went for biopsy about the bleeding, so it was not there. But other books I have produced books, but this is on Psychocamber industries. So we have a lot of, we have got researcher for this research. We were awarded 2.2 million Malaysian ringgit by MOSTI to do this research. Next one. And we believe that our well-vouchered taxonomized geochemical synthetic biomass can be prelude to stem cells, collagens, or even bioactive such as glycosaminoglycan. We think that there are a lot of prima facie evidence here, although not well stipulated and because of my non-sedative state. I think we have a well evidence here, and we think that all these intellectual properties and publication are a reflection of our capabilities in case there are potential for collaboration. Last slide, please. With that, I thank you very much for my incompetency. Thank you very much.
Prof, I have 5 questions from the floor, 3 for you, 2 general questions. Would you like to take it now or should we email you later? It's a quick one.
Okay.
When you mentioned about the La Maison, the house, that you created. Is it something that was already designed, in terms of the materials of the construction of the Lamason, when you finally decide to put it together, or did you start it from scratch, from ground? That's the first question, yeah.
During my visits at various areas in Phuket, Langkawi, and I sit down with the fisheries communities, and they say that how do Prof, you think we can harness the productivity of our sea cucumber, as you have mentioned from your China and Korea trip. I say that we need to have sea ranching, and by eventually, I don't know. So I went back to China and I studied. They have very small range, that high. It's not like a drainage, and it's just open like that. But when I studied thoroughly about the character of sea cucumbers, which is they are nocturnal. I mean, they more moving on at night. They don't like lights. They are always stay away far. That's why you cannot really see them near at beaches, because they they need certain salinity, they need certain oxygen level in the water. I did a lot of reading. Yeah, that's why I actually want to see Datuk Jamil on it, because I think I can build it better with proper engineering. But based on my reading and whatever knowledge I have built this. So it was not proper engineering, but it was very good. It was presented, and it got a second prize in Pencipta Innovation in 2017.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Prof, for the answer, because that itself is an independent branch, which can go really far if you're looking at biomass harvesting. The question number 2 will be, as you mentioned, whether it is 2 wife or 3 wife or 2 mother, the cuts. Is there a maximum of, number of cuts that one unit can take in order for it to become independent units on its own?
Based on the body weight, to do that in Stichopus horan, which is the smallest gamma mass, it still works, but it'll be very small. But for Stichopus vastus, which can go as long as 1.5 to 2 meters, you can do 3 to 5 cuts, and you produce not gametes, you produce 5 mothers. That is very important.
Thank you, Prof. And the last question is, how long would, hypothetically, or if you actually have a tabulated answer, for the final product to be in market, if you can foresee that?
Can I answer that, Dr. Prof? I have tried. There was meeting, but nothing was really revealed. Hopefully something can reveal here, but it was a very tough time for me to have this, but hopefully something come out. Until today, a lot of discussion, a lot of markets have come see me, but we have never went further than that. Thank you.